Okay, roll call. Everybody here? Comment for there, Secretary? Okay, I have a minute for the last meeting.
This is the board meeting minutes of June 14th, 1996. The meeting was called to order by Reverend Bob Bond. Those present were Reverend Bond, Reverend Corinne, Reverend Mike Oakley, Lee Proctor, and Walter Schlegel. Absent were Rosemary Shepherd, attending family reunion, and Reverend Mary Ann Bond. The minutes of the last meeting were read and accepted with a motion by Lee Proctor and seconded by Walter Schlegel. All in approval. The purpose report was given, and Morgan made a motion to accept and seconded by Lee Proctor. We brought attention to why a bank service card. He says that when we change banks, we thought there would be no charge, but yet this bank does have a monthly service charge, but it is not as much as the other bank. We felt if we kept the balance above 500, then no charge. We said, well, that's easier said than done. How could we arrange? How could we manage that? Besides, the charge is most likely affected by other things such as the number of checks written each month and perhaps other factors. She volunteered to try to find out this for the next meeting. And we then asked if our insurance covered sex-related things such as abuse or touching privacy. They both read and agreed with it. Reverend Bob said that he would be out of town from August 10th. Well, that's what. Reverend Bob said he would be out of town from August 10th to August 17th. So the next board meeting would have to be on Saturday, August 3rd at noon, and it would be a closed meeting. Saturday would be better than Sunday, so we'd have more privacy and plenty of time to discuss everything. Motion to adjourn by Mike, seconded by Walter. Closing prayer by Lee Proctor.
Any additions or corrections to the minutes?
On the first page, first paragraph, my inquiry wasn't just about sex-related, it was about liability in general.
Oh, I misunderstood when we already had to with liability. I called the company and I asked, and they sent these papers because they sent an application. They have just started doing this recently because, all over the country, now they have it. So we have an application, and they have this question and answer on both sides. And tell us all about it. And the other thing that we wanted to know about was how the bankers arrived at. So I went to the bank and asked them, and they gave me this. And the part that I have circled is the part that pertains to us as a religious organization for religious purposes. And it shows here that, there's a monthly maintenance of $5, that's all it is. And then they add on to that the number of checks is like 15, 30, they practice. And the deposit ticket, how many deposits you make, they take a quarter for every deposit. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. Oh, well, it was in the minutes, that's what you might think. Well, there's only one more thing to say that we've got they charge according to each item, and by each item, they need county tax on each deposit, so if you list each check on the district, and I wonder why they want you to sit down on the side for that in county tax. And they figure out the money. Did you have a question?
I had a question about me seeing or knowing about a letter of charges against this, which is untrue. I never looked at that letter, never had anything to do with the creation of that letter, and did not know about it.
I know about it. I agree with part of it, but just the one hand doesn't know the other.
The most disgraceful thing that I've ever heard.
Recognize on that. You have a motion to approve on that? Second. No, it's part of it. Favor? You might say aye. Aye. Motion passed. Financial report. How by the way, read donated to the home to the church.
Yeah, you can go to class if you allow them to donate it.
Just so you all know, it's got bells and whistles and everything.
Oh, when it rings, it sounds different. Did you hear it? Instead of the normal ring, it goes.
Chirps. Now there's a volume control for the handset, so you can make it louder or quieter in your ear. Use the hearing aid. It's got memory, although I don't know why we broke it one of them. And big buttons. So you can all see it's out of last.
All right, this is the treasurer's report from July 1st to July 31st. And tell me.
Since then, he's handed me another letter. Dated July 27th. The president, members, and board of the First Principles Church in regards to the letter submitted to the official board July 14th, 1996. After careful consideration, I hereby request that the previous letter be withdrawn and stricken from the records. Continue on with this was not resolved these discrepancies. Only bring disharmony and ultimately to the ruination of this church and the loss of its members. I am Robert John Lilek. on this?
I don't feel like it was that close to the church to defend it, because we need to address it and do something about it.
I think it's the horrible thing in the world
It is.
to accept it.
It's a horrible thing, but
And I have the strength from the spiritual side of life of God.
as far as hurting the membership or keeping people away, that's not necessarily true. What is more likely to keep the people away in the future is if we do not address it and this stuff continues. This stuff, like what was in the letter and this other, all this other negative stuff that goes on, has got to come to an end. This is what's driving
It is at an
this.
end.
This is what's driving the attendance away. And the only way to stop all this is to address it and take some kind of a action to make sure that it doesn't happen again. Jim, I respect you, but I don't know how many times you have told me in the past it's not going to happen again. And it
Because I
does.
said Spirit is working on it, and Spirit has worked on it.
I'm sure you have, but you have also told me that many times in the past.
Well, I was present at that meeting where there was a quarrel, and I couldn't stop either one of you, and I begged, I said, would you please, both of you, stop in my own home. And I've never heard such language in my life.
This has been going on for 5 years.
And it has nothing to do with church business.
Yes, it does. I beg your pardon.
Claire Garski and Jennifer Reed came up to me. When was the last meeting here? Tuesday? Sunday. And they said they scrutinized it very well, and they thought that it was a terrible thing to bring up, and just forgive it because it was a personal matter. And I think the same.
It isn't a disgrace that it was brought up. But the point is, if we do not do something to prevent it from happening again, it will happen again.
Like what?
Like what? Like what? First, I want to read the reply that I have written, and I have that right. I have the right to defend myself. And the whole last page of that is giving suggestions of what we can do.
I think it's the greatest thing that's ever happened against me in this church.
It's not against you two.
Well, it is. You can't see that, but I can.
For 5 years, I have respected you when you said you wanted me to be patient, to be forgiving, show that I was a bigger person
I wanted
than
you
was.
to have remorse.
Give Spirit time to work on it. I did have remorse. I did have forgiveness. I forgive 70 times 7. I turned the other cheek over and over and over.
Well, you
and
didn't
it kept
the other
happening.
day.
It kept, I think
It's not the other day when I begged you to cancel that church thing.
because I don't believe canceling is the solution.
I do.
It will pop up again and again the same way all these other incidents have popped up over and over and over. It began in April of 91, and it's happened just about once every
John
year
has
ever
come
since
to
then.
me, and I have explained to him thoroughly that it must not happen again.
That's right, but I've heard this story before, and it always does happen again.
Well,
It's
I
just
don't
like-
think you or I, either one, are judges of what repeats
I know
itself.
from past performance.
Well, I know from past performance many things that you board members don't know.
I like Corinne, if you ever reply to this letter, that's fine. We'd like to hear it. And then we'll have discussion. That's on the letterhead, perhaps.
Since you have a copy of the letter, folks put it in. Here's 4 pages.
I will give them a copy after I but I think in fairness to me, my character, my everything has been attacked, and I have every right to defend myself.
I think you have every right to defend yourself, Corinne. The only thing is that one problem I've seen here is that this church here and Reverend Tingley's home are two separate entities. They should be treated that way.
The thing
My
is,
home was
by everybody, not just.
that's true, but that is a misstatement that the argument was not about church things, because it was. Many, practically all of them have been.
Go ahead, read your letter.
All right. To the President and members of the Board of Directors of the church, I, Reverend Corinne, Secretary Treasurer of this church, do hereby make this reply to a letter written by Reverend John Lilek and read at our last board meeting of June 14th. Because I am sincerely concerned for the welfare of our church, I feel it to be imperative that the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth be brought to the surface at this time. This letter is just a succession of lies, false allegations, and slanderous remarks against myself. He begins by accusing me of assassination of his character and gossip and slander against him. Well, not only have I done absolutely none of these things, but he, in this very letter, has done just exactly every one of those things to me. Had I chosen to, I could have taken this letter to a lawyer and sued him, but I held back because I knew it would involve the church automatically, since he is assistant pastor. I would never do anything to hurt my church, but this letter could hurt it. And why didn't he consider all this before he caused the trouble? In order to make it easy to follow, I will discuss each of his remarks in the same order that he did, and then try to tell the real truth, to show how untrue they are. I'd like to say also, I restricted my letter only to his. God knows there's all kind of other stuff I could have brought in. I did not do that. I restricted it merely to a reply. The only thing I discuss in here is what he discussed. Try to tell you the real truth and show how untrue they are. As for destroying the peaceful turpitude that he refers to, boy, that shows how he borrows the words from Reverend Tingley's vocabulary without understanding or using them properly. Turpitude means shameful wickedness. There is no way it is peaceful. He also misspells my name all through the letter and Hardy Mayor's name and others. Hardy Mayor was one of the finest men who ever attended our church. It is true that he left because of problems he had with John. He does not hesitate to admit that to anyone who asks him. Gladys and Bill Massoudis wrote a letter about their feelings, and I have that. I wanted to ask you if you want me to read it. That's up to the board. After I get finished with this, we'll decide on that. Right? As to my keeping up the correspondence, John has no way to know how or to whom I communicate, and his statements are false, as is his 250 members. It is really about 100 members. Reverend Tingley has in his possession old books listing members from long ago. I have asked for them so I could add them to my list to make my list more accurate, but to no avail. Now, if you counted all of those members, maybe there'd be 250, but they are probably all dead or close to it. Also, I fulfill my oath with a better batting average than he does. As for using people for what I can get out of them, that is ridiculous. I'm about the opposite of that. No. I always do for others. I'm a giver, not a taker. As for the new board, I'm very happy with it too. But we cannot progress until we stop this bad public relations and condemning of people like he has done in this letter. I have never undermined any activities. I have tried to support them, like the secretary. And as for constant badgering, threats, and lying, I have not done any of those at all. But he certainly has. My mother used to say, people judge others by themselves. Well, doesn't it seem a little bit strange that all the things that he is accusing me of, I not only am not doing, but he is actually guilty of doing every one of them himself. And as for placing the blame on others, I have never done that, and he always does it. All the time. He can't stand to have anyone find fault with anything he does. He passes it off to blame someone else for it. I have been blamed by him for so many things I had nothing to do with it all. I will discuss personal responsibility a little later. It goes along with some of the things that I will say later. This has absolutely nothing to do with why I have been restricted from the meditation room. The truth is, John has influenced Reverend Kinley against me because John does not want to share that room, and he has an obsession to control it and other things. Also, he does not want any competition. Push the eject button and just does not want to share that room because he has an obsession to control it and other things. Also, he does not want any competition, and he knows that room helps development, and he prefers to hold back my development, so he has the monopoly. The most outrageous lie of all is the next one, where he says, I am to blame for Reverend Kinley's decline in health. There is absolutely no one who is more concerned about protecting Reverend Kinley's health than I am. There again, it's John who's guilty. John always keeps supplying all those cigarettes and encouraging him to smoke. Smoke, smoke, smoke. No matter what it's doing to his health. He has congestive heart failure. Smoking is the worst thing he could be doing. But John is trying to save those Marlboros and Sons so he can order those things from that catalog. He had him switch from his own brand of Merrick to the Marlboro so he could get all of his Sons too. Are those little trinkets in that book more important than Reverend Kinley's health? That's the truth, John. Yes, it is. That is true.
Just go ahead, read your letter, we'll discuss this.
And as for the harassment, badgering, and threats, I have never in my life made even one of those. But John has all the time, on a daily basis. Who is the one who is there on a daily basis? Only John, that's who. He's the one who keeps him nervous and upset every day. And to try to blame it on me is ridiculous. I used to go to Reverend Kinley's in the morning to be sure he got his handful of pills on time at 9 a.m. every morning, and to see that he had his breakfast, because John never got up to do it. Then, if I was still there when John did get up, often he would instigate an argument, so I always made sure that I left when he arrived, in order to keep the peace so that Reverend Kinley would be protected from being upset. Even since this letter, I have called at Reverend Kinley's every morning because I am very concerned that he gets his medicine on time. John doesn't. He never gets up for me. As for breaking the rules of ethics, I have not broken one, but he has. And he has broken also one of the 10 Commandments that says, do not bear false witness against thy neighbor. All of these lies and false accusation against me and others, he loves to condemn and put others down. He finds fault continually. Is it any wonder that no one wants to do things around the church? For 18 years that I have done everything I could for the church, what did I get for my effort? This horrible letter of lies and insults. Florence Gregory is one of the kindest, most Christian people I know. A few years ago, I had a problem with my house insurance, and she volunteered to loan me the money I needed without me even asking. I was amazed. I couldn't believe how kind she was. I told Reverend Taylor because I was so impressed with her being such a good Christian. But John, here in this letter, is taking that good Christian act and trying to turn it around. He switches things around backwards. Trying to turn it around into something bad. Doesn't that make you wonder if he really knows or understands what a truly Christian act is when he sees it? Does he understand what being a Christian really is? Carla Roberstein is one of our oldest members and is almost blind. He lives alone and he can't get to the store, so I have been buying his groceries and taking them to him a couple of times a week. This has been going on for months. I don't own a car. I haven't had one for 4 months. I don't own a car, but I still do it. I go part of the way on the bus. The bus don't go all the way there, so I have to walk the rest of the way. And John has a car, but he not only won't do it, but he's talking ridicules me for doing it. Now I ask you, which one of us is a Christian? Later in this letter, when he says, I don't know the meaning of love, compassion, and forgiveness, who does that sound like? It's obvious I do know love and compassion, but he doesn't. Also, every day, people call me, telling me their problems. I always listen and try to help. I enjoy helping other people. Does he? Next, he mentions my tactics. Well, the truth is, I don't have any tactics. I'm about as open as anyone can be. But he has tactics. Once again, judging others by himself. Next, he claims 5 presidents of the board have had problems with me. That's absurd. Most of them were my good friends, and I have gone out of my way to cooperate, and I have gone far beyond the call of duty. It is true, we do need more communication, and I do try more than anyone else I know of to promote that communication. As for me being the only one who has the membership list, that's the biggest lie of all. Back in 1993, I gave Reverend Jim and John the only list that I had of all the members. It was a brown spiral notebook, and they had it in their possession for at least 3 weeks. I started to worry if I was ever going to get it back, and I was told, well, it takes time to copy all that. Then when I finally did get it back, I asked, did you get it all copied? And I was assured that they did. Then at least a couple of times since then, some of you have asked one of them how to get the list, and you were told, I have the only one, and I won't give it up. Oh yes, that other thing about I don't want it to get into the wrong hands. That was not my idea. Reverend Julie told me that years ago, and he's told me since then. It was never my idea, but I always got all the blame for it. As to obsession to control, it's John, not me. He wants total control over the church and the members. I don't. Why does it? He always accuses me of exactly what he's guilty of himself. Strange, but true. He does that over and over. Oh yes, the church records. I had already announced at the last board meeting that I would be bringing them back now, gradually, as I get time to go over them, since I was giving up all my other church duties. Well, it is time for the whole truth. I had been told by Reverend Julie many times, when just the two of us were alone, that he felt it was best for the church and himself, that I keep them. And then he told everyone else that he wanted me to bring them back. Well, I am so fed up with all the hassle I have taken over this that I have made up my mind to bring them no matter what. So that will be done as soon as I can sort them. I have already brought one big box about 2 weeks ago, and it was 2 weeks today, Saturday. And the same day that I brought them, Reverend Lilek and Reverend Anhart came in while John was mowing the lawn. I had a talk with Jim and Ann, and they both said that they did not agree with John's letter at all, and they have been trying to talk him out of it. I said, well, they needed to tell the board that because there was confusion about it. And they said they would. Some of you have told me that I didn't need to dignify John's letter with a reply, since it is self-evident in itself. And it is self-incriminating testimony as to the caliber of its author. But I feel it is important to answer it because there is something which is more important than the personal issues. And that the important thing is that you all need to hear the truth, the real truth, in order for you to properly evaluate things for the welfare of this church. That is not just the personal, it's the principle that's involved here. This is not just a personal issue. It's an issue involving principles of the church. It's a time to ask what principles and what ethics we have in our church and what we can do to restore this church to the Christian principles that we need to have in order to ensure its continuation and progression. I have taken John's letter and proven line after line, paragraph after paragraph, it is a perpetual lie. Now the question arises, why? Why would you do this? What sort of a person would write 2 long, typewritten pages of lies against another person, and why? Either he knew they were lies and wanted to manipulate or gain some premeditated plan, perhaps to try to get rid of me because he considers me a threat since I am one of the few who really know all is false. Or else, if he really believed those things about me, that's even worse. Because it shows that he is not connecting with reality, but living in fantasies of his own making. And why are the things that he accuses me of exactly always the same things that he is guilty of? He refers to, this is a wake-up call. Well, it certainly is. But it's not a wake-up call on myself. It's a wake-up call on himself. And it's also a wake-up call on the church. Where are we heading? How can we allow this sort of thing to go on? The answer is, we can't. I say the board of this church must now take steps to see that this sort of thing has got to stop. We cannot tolerate any longer the lying, the hating, the condemning of others. We must use discipline to set up rules and discipline to prove that there are boundaries and there are limits to what we will tolerate. We cannot allow these destructive words and actions to go on any longer. There has to be authority to control all of us. It's not just John, it's everybody. Each and every one of us, from doing anything that's contrary to the best interest of this church and its members. We must all cooperate to conduct ourselves in a Christian way and to live in harmony with spiritual laws. One of the most important laws of our church is personal responsibility. I said earlier I could put that way. There it is. One of the most important laws of our church is personal responsibility. John and all of us must be accountable for every word and every action. That is the key to this whole problem. Every one of us should be accountable to this board if they do or say things that are not acceptable. And this includes lying, hating, condemning others, and whatever other things we agree that need to be kept under control. This must be done to repair and restore our church. I believe when this is done successfully, then the attendance will be restored and we will all benefit. I have invested many years of my life to this church. I believe this is a turning point and a wake-up call to all of us who truly love this church. Please, let us all wake up before it is too late. Let us work together to save our beautiful little church and our beautiful religion while we can. Let us all try to show more love and consideration to one another. As Tiny Kim said, God bless us, everyone.
Well, this church is based on love and forgiveness. And I think that's the order of the day. As, any of the members, any of the board members have any comments?
So we can go Tuesday, John, if we can go serve as John at a Tuesday night service. He told me that I had to use Corinne the right to serve the platform on the way. That included messages, reading and announcements. This is out of line. It's beyond his authority. This isn't the first time he's tried to abuse his office. I'll remind you that at the membership meeting in 1995, it was well known by everyone, including the members, that there was to be a vote to fill the presidency because of Reverend Brenda's death. John presided as acting president at that meeting, as was his vice president should. But he had the audacity to explain his own presidency and read a speech as to his justification for doing so. Then became upset when it was overruled. And he knew what the procedure was, and the members were expecting to vote. This was clearly an attempt to use his authority in his office. And then when it was decided by the membership vote that John shouldn't even be nominated, he became upset enough to be resigned as vice president and swore to the church that the church would receive no services from him without payment. Clearly it shows that he expects something from us for everything he does, and his service is not from his heart, nor from the gods. He would like us to think that he's changed, he's had a change of heart because of the restoration, and it is a beautiful job in the kitchen, yet he refuses to correct the sink drain, which had it been done right in the first place, it wouldn't be leaking a few months later. Also, in preparation of the Universal Institute, while I was mopping Grace Hall, I asked as to why I had been denied the privilege of serving the platform the past year, and John came on me, shouting vague accusations as likely to recur, talking slander and character assassination, with no specifics. And when I challenged him on this, his reply, he charged in my direction, hands and arms flying. I truly expected to be struck and was surprised when he stopped himself short of physical contact. As I claimed, he's received complaints of my sermons and my messages, and I find this very hard to believe. In my heart, I know this is false, all of it. The witnesses to this event, Corinne, Walter, and Jim, I believe were as surprised as I was, did not stop short of physical assault. There was absolutely no reason for John's outburst or loss of his control. I did nothing or said anything to incite any normal person to riot. After this, I was approached by a member who heard of the incident and related a similar incident in which John accosted her over a remark she made to him, which was in effect a compliment of his talent as a carpenter. She has no understanding of his reaction. She feared she would be good, and still fears John. She had to call for a ride because she had concerns about heart attack or stroke from this complication. I asked for a written statement. She said she would give it to me, but the last 2 weeks her health has been fairly poor. I talked to her last night. She said she was still in that state. At the close,
Can you give the name to a book?
pardon me?
Can you tell it to a book?
Yeah, Marjorie Patterson. At the closed meeting in May, was previous to the last membership meeting, Reverend Nichols informed me he had heard that I was openly pushing for separation from the original solution. This is flat out false. It could have came only from John or John. I believe it was John, who has since been trying to convince me to do this separation. Yet just last week, an individual gave me literature that John had given to her approximately 2 months ago when she asked about joining the church. This pamphlet was from the Universal for the Universal. It had nothing to do with our church membership, and he said nothing about our church membership. So I must ask, what is he trying to start? His letter to the board of 713 continues to demonstrate his uncaring, selfish ways of deceit. I know from personal conversations that Harvey and Dorothy are not here because of John. I have heard Gladys say herself that she wouldn't stay if John was doing the service. I'm confident that her and Corinne are on friendly terms. Last Sunday, the 28th, I had a volunteer to do the coffee hour who at the last minute canceled and said that they would not return for a while because of John's actions. 2 weeks ago, within 4 days, I had 2 people tell me they would never return again because of John's actions. I feel it is evident to everyone sitting here that John attempts to hold the church hostage to get what he wants by promising to withhold his services unless each time it's something different. And I ask each of you, how many times you've witnessed this yourself? I feel all of you know in your heart that John is morally and mentally capable of serving this assistant pastor, and I feel his actions testify to this. I ask for a second motion releasing the services and obligations of the assistant pastor of the church.
Is that a motion? Yes, it is. like to make motions. Any other board members have any?
I would like to ask the board if it's part of the
It's up to me too with the platform.
Well, let's see, is there anybody, any other board members have any comments, suggestions, advice?